Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video of the week, and the topic for this week is run stitch style lettering, and there are several great things that we can learn about when it comes down to run stitch style lettering. And so the first thing I'm going to do is just click on one of these segments that I've created, and of course it always says starts with my text. I just clicked on the horizontal text tool, started a text segment, and then selected some of our run stitch style fonts. Now notice this one's called Flatliner, and it has a little RN beside it, and that tells me it's a run stitch style font. When you're browsing through your fonts, you'll notice that if you choose here, there's a font filter, and I've chosen to only see the run stitch style fonts. And so when I choose that, it shows me just specifically these run stitch style fonts. But if I make that be all fonts, then you can, of course, scroll through all of the different styles of lettering that we have. Now, while we're talking about all of the different styles of lettering, these may be the run stitch style fonts that are for what we would call a center line run stitch, but we also have lots of fonts available. Maybe what I'll do here is just click on my horizontal text tool and start a new text segment, and so that's going to come up with like whatever text I used most recently, and so it's this script font. And what I can do now is click right here and browse through all the different fonts, and I wanted to point out the ones with the letter O in front of them. O stands for outlines. And so if I click on that George letter style and click apply, notice that it's not an outline. It's actually still a regular old satin stitch lettering, but anytime you choose one that has an O in front of it, that's the fonts that are called the outline style fonts. Those ones have other styles, and so this is the default style, the satin stitch, but you could change that to be a run stitch outline or an applique outline or a default with run stitch outline. So default meaning satin stitches with run stitch outline, or just a run stitch outline. Or now applique, if I was going to choose applique, I would also want to change the size of the lettering because it's kind of small to be an applique, but it's perfect for run stitch. If I just choose run and click apply, notice that it changes those letters from a default satin column to a run stitch outline. And so there are lots of different fonts that are available for run stitch outlines. So if you're looking for some light embroidery or not too many stitches, run stitch letter styles work great. Now, one of the biggest questions that we get with the run stitch lettering is it okay to trim the thread in between the letters, or will they unravel? And the answer is you should be able to, and it's dependent upon the settings. So when you select your text, and because it's a text segment, notice that there's a text properties box, and there's a second one called text extra, and it's that text extra tab where you have the ability to choose your trim type. So it's either always, never, or automatic. Now, always means always put a trim, and lock means always put a lock. Now, sometimes people say, well, if I told it to trim between the letters, why didn't my machine trim between the letters? And that really comes down to your embroidery machine. You see, if you have an industrial machine, like a multi-needle industrial, then those formats and those machines have the ability to trim with a trim command. But most kind of domestic home machines are trimming based upon the distance. And so to really learn about that distance, what you need to do is to turn off the 3D sort of visualization, because that gives you the dotted lines that represent the jumping of the machine. So when it finishes the word my text, the machine will jump along this dotted line from the end of that T to the beginning of this M. And so what I'm telling you is that the machine decides when to trim based upon how long the jump is. Notice a lot of times it always jumps between two words, but not always between two letters. And that really comes down to how far is the distance between your two letters. And if you measure it and it's quite a short distance such as that, then it may not. That's only a 1.7 millimeters. And if I talk in inches and measure it, we're talking about 0.06 of an inch, so not very far. Now, one thing I want to say about that is a lot of times I leave that thread in. As far as I'm concerned, between the T and the E is kind of just meant to connect together, and it looks fine in run stitches to leave them. That said, if you want to trim them, it's completely possible. So then the question is, if I trim with my scissor, if my machine doesn't do it, can I still trim it with my scissor? And again, the answer is yes, provided you've got the locks turned on in your properties box, right? That's where the other option was the lock type, which is also always, never, or only around a trim. Well, if you say always lock, then you can be sure that when the embroidery machine sews this letter M, that it will do it. So let's go a little slower, Trevor. It starts there, and we'll just click play. And so it's going to, oh, that's not play here. There's play, and it walks up and down. That's kind of fast. Slow it down. And so it's going here one stitch at a time. It's kind of traveled to the end of the letter M. And now it's walking backwards, and then it kind of returns to where it's going to move forward. And so notice right about probably there, yeah, that was it. I'll just zoom really closely to that spot. And so it's going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, all kind of in one little spot like that. That's called a tie off. And now it's going to go jump, 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 jump. Actually, that's a stitch again. So that series of jump, jump, jumps like that will ensure that an industrial machine will trim. And now it's on with the next. So it starts out with a 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, that's a tie in. And now it will go on with doing the rest of the lettering as is prescribed. And so the answer is yes. You can trim with your scissor in between the M and the Y. Now, one of the things I like to do is maybe I can make that space smaller so that it's not as noticeable, and then you don't want to trim it, right? And so you can go into your edit text mode, use the little blue handles, and make that, little Y as close to the M as you think is need be, so that you don't feel that you need to trim it at all. And I usually leave them in. But between the Y and the T, yeah, you're going to trim that for sure. And if it's long enough, the machine will trim it. And if it's not long enough, well, then you have to trim with your scissor. Now, one thing I can say about that is there is a way to help the machine trim it when it needs to be kind of longer. And that's over in the text properties box again, text extra, where it says connection type. So closest means find the closest distance between the M and the Y, or between the T and the E. But if you make this be furthest, now it's going to go and do the M and then use the furthest distance to jump from the M to the Y. And sometimes that longer trail distance will make it long enough to trim on your machine. So I guess it really depends on what your machine's kind of distance is for jumps and how long that trim becomes. But that's another option and another way to get them to automatically trim if that's something you're wanting to do. Another thing that a lot of times people ask about is that all you've got is the 4, single style letter styles? And other than the outline styles, which there's really quite a few of those ones, if you didn't notice, there are a lot of different ones in an outline style. But if you want a center line outline, then I guess there's just the 4. But what I'll show you is how to make your own. And so I've always done this from handwriting or even just from a font in the computer. If you can find a font that you really like, then we can select it. Come in here, say all fonts, scroll through, look for one that maybe you think would be cool as a run stitch style, center, maybe something scripty or something holiday or whatever it is, doesn't matter. Select it, choose what you want to say, and so we'll do my name and this kind of holiday style one. And so the real benefit of a run stitch is the ability to be smaller. To make it smaller than, satin stitches, it would be hard to make these columns much smaller. Pretty soon the little center of the E starts to close up. You can't find it anymore. The spaces are too small. The columns might become skinny, that kind of thing. And so a run stitch is a great way to do it. And so what I do is I make my own. And so to digitize my own, I guess I could either draw the artwork first and then convert it later with the run stitch tool. But my preference is to use the digitizing toolbox and click right here for a run stitch. And when you do that, it's like this. Click to start, click, 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 and then right click to stop. And it makes a run stitch that follows your needle. follows your mouse. So zoom in, choose a new color and start, wherever you want to start right there. Now, I will give you a tip. Don't try and make these curves perfect. We're going to be making run stitches, and we're probably going to want to make it smaller than what it originally was. So I don't fuss over making perfectly curved lines. Notice that I'm just putting like a few clicks to make the shape, but not really fussing on how curvy it is. And I'll kind of show you why in a little later when we get to the end. But what I can do is I kind of walk along the line and wherever I start, and when I come to a fork in the road, I'll take it. And then when I get to the end of that fork, I'll walk my way back to the beginning again. And so I've done this kind of like bottom of the T, and now I'm working my way back up the center, and now I'm back up to the top, and I'm moving along to the other side of the T, and now I'm heading on down to the R. And here I have to decide how am I going to connect to the R, and so maybe I'll just have a little line that goes like this. Come here. So what I'm telling you is I follow my way along, taking the forks in the road, walking my way along through the letters. And so now you have some choices. Maybe I regret my choices, so I'm going to hit backspace, 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 backspace. And now I'm sitting at the top of the letter R again. I think I'll go the other way. I'll do the top of the R, and then I'll connect to the R to the E at the bottom. It was a choice. I had to make it. Somebody had to make it. I made it. I'm going to do the E the same way. I'm going to come into the E. I'm going to walk to the end of it. And then I'm going to walk my way kind of back to the beginning of it. There's probably where I'll connect to the V. So I'll come back and do like the E. Now, here I've got a bit of a choice. I can't really stop there. I'm going to have to go all the way to here to connect that line. So you're kind of interpreting. And to be honest, normally this holiday one's kind of a little bit odd. Normally I'm doing like a script. A lot of times when I do this, it's because I'm looking for handwriting and I'm looking to make it look kind of more personalized. I'm not even sure going out there would make this font make sense. If that's supposed to be a V, I think I'm just going to cut my losses here and go that way. And then come on up here. Basically, I'm trying to make my name Trevor look correct. And so it's sometimes 1-ply and sometimes 2-ply. And I just go around until I get all the way around the letter. And then again, maybe another 1/2-ply until I can get over. So basically now I'm on the last letter of my name. And so I can work my way up to the top. And when I get to the end of the word, I have an option. Because I've really completed the word Trevor, and you could call it a day and stop right there. And what you would have is sometimes it's 1-ply and sometimes it's 2-ply, right? Because I've basically 1-plied all the way across, but every time I got to one of those forks in the road and I went out and back again, that part got done 2 times. So the quilter would say, let's stop there. But the kind of traditional redwork embroiderer says, no, we're not done. We got to walk back to the beginning again and catch all of the 1-plies and make them all doubles. So that's what this is what that looks like. Now you follow back along the points you already placed. You don't have to take the extra tangents anymore. You've already been down that road. You're just trying to find the original road that you took. I like to call it the travel line, How did I travel from the beginning to the end? Follow back the way I came, but don't take the forks in the roads anymore because you took them already, followed them to the end. And so this way, every part of my design becomes what's known as a 2-ply run stitch. And so I'm basically teaching you guys kind of some old school, hand digitizing technique here. But I guess what I'm trying to say is if you don't find what you want, you can almost always make it, right? So now I'm back to the letter T. How much further do I have to go? I think it's just basically kind of along the top to here and then back to where I started from down there. And so at this point, I can right click. I've drawn the whole word Trevor. It's all done in a perfect 2-ply, what we call redwork style. It looks kind of okay, except for I'm not really sure about how I connected the T to the R and all that, but I guess it's okay. Like I said, it kind of turns out better when you do scripts, but the cool part about this is this will maintain that shape even at nice small sizes. So sometimes when we're trying to do some of the smallest of text, run stitches gives us the kind of, and another reason why we choose run stitch, even just this outline style, is because it's lighter, right? Less stitches. So if you're trying to do kind of really light embroidery, run stitch outlines work great. So one last thing about originally when I was drawing the letter T, remember when I said, don't put too many clicks to follow along the line? Well, this is why, because if you're going to reduce it to a size like this, you don't want too many needle points, because if you don't know this, I'll tell you right now that anything that's smaller than 1 millimeter, like when you turn on your needle points and you can see all of those little dots, if you measure from one to the next, you want that to be, and I'll change my ruler to metric for this, and you want that to be at least 1 millimeter, and so see how that's like 0.91, that's the smallest, and you don't want them to get smaller than that. So what I'm telling you is I've kind of reached the smallest size that I think I can sew this word Trevor and still look good, because if you start trying to put the needle points closer than 1 millimeter apart, what happens is the needle doesn't make a new hole. The needle goes into the fabric and makes a hole, and when it comes out, it needs to move a certain distance before so that it can create a new hole. And the needle itself is almost 1 millimeter wide. So understand that 1 is like the minimum, and really 1.5 is better. And so this is why the tip, because if you take the digitizing tool and you start on the big letter T like I had here before, and you zoom in, but you want to make it look perfectly curved at this size, and so you go click, 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 and you put lots of clicks to make a nice smooth curve. Can you see how that's a nice, and so, what I'm saying is no, you have to lengthen them, because you know that you're planning on making them smaller later. And here's why. Notice on the side where, oops, I got it all selected. Let's just move that run stitch over. So over here where I put kind of a few clicks, the software will put a needle point for every one of the clicks that you put in. So it'll put in all of my clicks. And so that's fine at the big size, but now when I make it smaller, it still tries to put in all of my clicks, and it gets into having like too many small clicks. And so the point there is, and it'll take them out the best it can, but the best thing you can do is not, over click when you're digitizing little run stitches, especially if your intention is to make them small like the one I did. So yeah, that's a lot of information for one video for one day, but it's all about creating run stitch lettering, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, have a great day, and bye-bye.